everybody and welcome to this video. This video is going to explain how shortwave listener can start to receive whisper transmissions. This is the front cover of Radcom and it's dated June 2017, and in here there's a very interesting article that I read about whisper light and solar beams, and this was the first time that I'd actually heard about whisper transmissions. I've been off air for quite a long time, for about 20 years, so my knowledge of some of the new data modes was really way in the past. Although I've been a keen shortwave listener, and have been since I've been off air, I had no sort of shortwave receiving equipment at all. And about 3 years ago, I got set back up as a shortwave listener. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, some unknown reason, whisper came into my head, and I just thought, let's get set up and see if I can receive the transmissions. That's what this video is about. It's aimed entirely at the shortwave listener, and it's going to show you very simply how to get set up to receive some of the data modes that are now available on HF and also whisper transmissions. First thing I need to stress before we start going on with this video is I am a complete novice. So some of the things I'm going to explain might be right, might be wrong, but they've worked for me. So if I've got some things wrong, perhaps you can let me know in the comments. So what are you going to need? And I'm going to explain my setup here. Yours will be different probably, but perhaps not that much different. So I'll be using an RSP2 SDR receiver. Bought this a few years ago and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It works extremely well, but I just wondered how well it works on very weak signals as you receive on whisper. So attached to that is a long wire, and I've got a long wire which covers 80 down to 10 meters, and it's terminated in a 9-to-1 balance, and it seems to work very well. The highest point is about 35 feet in the tree, and the end of that then drops down to the ground, and the other end is about 25 feet, and I've got a coax then coming into the receiver. So it's almost like, it's a little bit like an inverted L really. You're going to need some software. You can use your favorite SDR software. You don't have to use an SDR receiver. You can use a normal receiver when doing this, something like one of the new Malachites or something like that. Everything for me is virtual, so everything's run on the computer, and I will be using SDRplay. So what else do you need? You will need virtual cable. Virtual cable is free. In fact, everything I want to show you is free. Virtual cable is free. You don't have to do any setup at all with virtual cable. You just need to run it and install the driver and then reboot the computer. Because the free version, there's very little you can actually do with it. But there's enough in the free version to do what we need to do with it. And you're going to need some decoding software. And the decoding software we're going to be looking at, we're going to look at two packages. We're going to look at the WSGT-X software, and we'll also be looking at the JTDX software as well. These are very similar. In fact, I'm pretty sure they run on the same engine. It's just the front end interfaces that look different. And believe me, these do the job, and they do them very well. If you're going to be receiving whisper transmissions, then I highly recommend that you get yourself an account with WhisperNet, because what this will enable you to do is to log all your whisper reception. All the stations you receive on whisper will be automatically logged onto a map, so you can go online and see what you've actually received. So that's it really. Let's go along and look at the software and see what you need to install. Okay, so I'm back again, and I've now got the SDRuno software running in the background, and I've just muted that for the time being. Okay, these are the three packages that you're going to need to install. You don't have to install both receiving packages. One will do, but I just thought I'd show you both of them. First thing I'm going to need to do is download and install virtual cable. This downloads as a zip file, and all you need to do is right click and click extract all. That will extract it into a folder, and it will open it up. You then just need to run the setup and just follow the prompts on the screen. Very easy to install, and it will ask you, it will prompt you to reboot the computer after you've installed it to make sure the driver's running. Nothing else to set up on virtual cable at all, not a thing. Here's virtual cable's control panel. That's the control panel, and there's nothing on it to set up. It just works. And because this is the free version, we can't route to other places. We can only route to one place, and I'll show you how to do that later on in this video. So once you've done that, it's installed and set up. Okay, if we go back, then we've got the other two packages. You just double click them, and then click next. Click I agree. And what I would actually do is take this one, which adds JDEX to the system path for all users. So all users will get access to this on the computer, and then just create a desktop icon. And then you click next, and it will ask you where you want to install it. And this is just installed the folder on my C drive. That's that one done. Get out of that. And this is the next one, and the installer on this one is very similar. Click next, click I agree, and it's just exactly the same. Add for all users, create a desktop icon, click next, and select a folder where you want to install it to, and that's installed. That's finished. That's the setup there. So that's your software installed. Okay, I'm back now on SDRuno, and this is now set up. This is I think Sunday morning now, and there's a small CW contest going on the HF, and I'm actually now sitting on 14 megs. Let's show you the software first. Let's show you some of the things to do. If I run up the first package, this is what it looks like. Okay. Very, very few things you need to do to get this set up. If you go to File, go to Settings, then all you need to do is put your call sign in and your grid. First 4 letters of your grid. That's it for that. You can then, if you want to, go and set the decode font size up, because it can look quite small on the screen. And I just set mine up to 12. That's all I've done. You don't need to do anything on the radio, because that's all to do with transmitting. But you do need to go into the audio tab. Now, if you click onto the audio tab, this is where you now need to set the input to virtual cable. So if I now drop this down, I've got the options of selecting any of these inputs. Obviously, if you're using an external receiver, will probably that cable from that external receiver will be plugged into your microphone input on the computer, so you probably select the microphone. But for us, we're going to select virtual cable. There it is at the bottom. Cable output, VB audio, virtual cable. That's that done. That's that set up. Nothing else to do with that now. We click OK. So that's done. What I would recommend you do first to test this, test it on FT8. FT8 is busy all the time, and it's very quick. You're not waiting around an FT8. You get signals very, very quickly, unlike WSPER, where you have to wait something like 20 seconds before anything happens, then maybe even longer after that. I'm just going to close this software down now, and I'm going to open up the other one and show you how similar the packages are. Okay, this has got a completely different front end, but you'll notice that if I go into settings, it's exactly the same. Put the call sign in, put the locator in, and we'll go to audio. See that the input is set to virtual cable. It's exactly the same. So what we're going to need to do now is test it. And if we go to mode, select FT8, what FT8 will do now is it will give us the frequency. These are all the frequencies that are listed. So it's telling us now if we want to receive FT8, we need to tune our receiver to 14.074, and already it's listening. You will notice that on this side of the screen here, this is the receive input, this is the audio level input, and at the moment, no audio level at all. nothing there. We need to make a quick setting on our SDR software. So let me bring up our software. Okay, I have to tell you now that for some reason when I run this software, it completely screws up my layout for SDRuno. It just doesn't work anymore for some reason. But it doesn't matter. This is the control panel, the only one we're going to need. At the moment, I'm on mute. Let me just go and bring up one as well. Okay, we're back now. As you can see, there's a contest going on. If I unmute this now, I know this messes up my audio a little bit, but you'll hear that we're now receiving CW. I'm just going to mute that for a second. I'm just going to bring up the software, and it's saying on the software, and I now need to tune to 14074. Oh, back 14074. Okay, so that's the FT8 frequency on 20. And let me show you what I now need to do. If I unmute this, I can now hear the signals. Okay, I'm just going to mute that again because I think it messes my audio up a little bit. Now I need to go on settings. We now need to choose our output. This is where the SDR receiver is sending its output. At the moment, it's sending it to speakers. What we need to do, send it to virtual cable. So I now send it to the virtual cable, and I now X that out and unmute. Notice we're not receiving any audio now at all because the audio has now been diverted from the speakers. And as you can see, now got a receive level up to 70. And we're now just waiting to see if any FT8 comes through. It's now on its first pass, and there we go. Straight away, we've now got signals coming through. And what I like about this software is it actually tells you the countries where the signal's originating from. So, as you can see, this is now working. And the more we sit here, the more stations we're going to receive because FT8 is a really well-used mode. So we know that that is working now. And that is working really well. Wait for another pass to come through. There you go. Got so much stuff coming through in FT8, so much on there. And I have to say, what I found interesting about FT8, how much DX is on there as well. What I've been doing since getting back into shortwave listening is I've been just listening to the DX clusters. I was pretty much into CW when I was operating as a ham. And I've gone back to listening to CW. So I've been sitting on the clusters and I've just been picking out the DX and seeing how I can receive it. And what I noticed on FT8 was the amount of DX that was on there. And I monitored this one afternoon and I couldn't believe how much DX was coming through FT8. It was absolutely incredible. So there we go. We know that's working now. And nothing more for this setup. We can now just switch across to WSPR if we want to. And I'll show you how WSPR works. I'm going to come out of this package. I'm going to quit out of that. And I'm going to run the other one. Right, so we're now going to, well, I think we're on FT8. We're going to switch mode and I'm going to go to WSPR. And it's now saying that down at the bottom here, we now need to retune to 14095.6. So let me bring up control panel. This is what I mean about it messing up the what it looks like. I need to go to 14095.6. Okay, and I can now go back to the software. One thing that you really want to do is you want to tick the box upload spots, because in a minute I'm going to go onto the WSPR website. First thing you've got to realise about WSPR is that nothing happens quickly. You may wait here for a very, very long time for anything to happen. In fact, I want to switch bands in a minute because by far the easiest band to receive WSPR on for me out here in Europe, out here in the UK, 10 megs. So Let me go on to 10 megs. And it says I now need to retune to 10.138.7. This. Oh, the other thing I need to make sure of that I'm going to switch mode. I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to switch mode. And I'm now listening on 1800. WSPR transmission is about 200 hertz wide, but I found that I've been listening to USB and a filter of about 1.8 seems to work okay. So let me go back to the receive software and let's see if anything pops up. Okay, so there's the first few coming through. I'm actually now going to dip across to the WSPR website. I'm going to leave this monitoring for a second for the next couple of minutes. I'm going to go across to the WSPR website, show you how these are put onto the map. Back in a second. Okay, here I am on WSPRnet. So it's whispernet.org. Very easy to use. It's very easy to get signed in. Just create a new account, put your details in. I think they verify it. I'm not quite sure now. It's very easy to set an account up. What we want to do, I want to click on map. If I can click on map now, straight away you'll see, go through this with you, you'll see that I can now select the bands that I've been to monitor. So I'm now on 30 meters. If I wanted to, I can select all bands, but I'm going to leave it on 30. I put a call sign in and I can put a period in, last received, so I'll put 24 hours, and then I just click update. And you'll see this is what I've been receiving in the last 24 hours. And just put full screen. This is what is so great about this system. That straight away, not only does it update the map, see all the countries that you've been receiving from. And it is absolutely fascinating because I know that some of these stations on here have been transmitting down to below 100 milliwatts, and to think that I've got an SDR receiver and a very simple long wire aerial, and it's still capable of receiving signals that weak and signals that are clearly in the noise. It's quite amazing, and it's also a testament to those stations transmitting these for the efficiency of their transmitting antenna. So absolutely fascinating. That's what this is all about. So that's it. That's about it. Nothing more to say on this one. As I explained right at the beginning, I am a novice. I don't know that much about this, but it only took me something like 45 minutes from thinking about it, getting set up and receiving. But all the articles I found were all based around getting your transmitter, getting your Yaesu or your Kenwood or your Vicom or whatever you've got on air with this software. Very, very little available just for the shortwave listener. That's why I decided to make this video. I hope it's been helpful. I hope it's been informative. If I've got anything wrong, which I probably have, let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.